All right, America's political class is divided on partisan lines when it comes to Trump's tariff tirade against India. The question asked to Trump administration is this: why is India being singled out for Russian oil purchase, but China is spared for being a top buyer? In a long post on social media platform X, the Democrats' Foreign Affairs Committee wrote, and I quote here, "Instead of imposing sanctions on China or others purchasing larger amounts of Russian oil, Trump's singling out India with tariffs, hurting Americans and sabotaging the U.S. India relationship in the procedure." Just days ago, Blue Camp lawmakers launched a similar scathing attack on Trump. They said, and I quote here, "Tariffing India will not stop Putin. If Trump really wanted to address Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, maybe punish Putin and give Ukraine the military aid it needs. Everything else is smoke and mirrors." The remarks from Democrat lawmakers comes a day after Trump's 50% tariff on Indian goods, which came into effect. It also comes on the heel of a series of remarks not just made by Trump, but also Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro. In an interview with Bloomberg, Navarro made a bizarre claim that the Russia-Ukraine war is the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's war, saying that the road to peace in Ukraine passes through the Indian national capital. Navarro said, and I quote him here, "What's troubling to me is that Prime Minister Modi is a great leader. India is a mature democracy, and yet they look us bald-faced in the eye and say they don't have the highest tariffs in the world, when in fact they do. Then they say we are not going to stop buying Russian oil." Now, what does that mean? Russia uses the money it gets to fund its war machine, kill more Ukrainians, and then Ukraine comes to the United States of America and Europe and says, "Give us more money." So American taxpayers lose because we have got to fund Modi's war. Those are the words of Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly asserted a call for peace. In conversation with Putin and even Zelensky during state visits to both the countries last year, Prime Minister Modi urgently called for negotiations and said that this is not the era of war. The U.S. has imposed additional tariffs or penalty for Russian imports only for India, while sparing other buyers of Russian oil, such as China and Turkey. China currently faces a 30% tariff, while U.S. has imposed 15% tariff on Turkey. Both are majorly lower than India's 50%. India has repeatedly pointed to Europe and America's double standards in the ongoing tariff war. Citing data, India has hit out at the West for its continued Russia trade there, while Washington singles out New Delhi to implement the highest tariff rate on any Asian country. And well, joining us on the broadcast is Christopher Hale, who is a Democrat strategist. He has worked for Presidents Obama and Biden in the White House and on the campaign trail as well. Welcome to WION, Christopher. First up, of course, your assessment of the statement coming in from the Democrats, where they've said that Trump's tariff on India is little to do with the Ukraine-Russia war, but it is only hampering New Delhi-Washington ties.
I absolutely agree. It makes no sense to me. I mean, India is the fastest growing democracy, it's the fastest growing economy. It's a democracy with shared values and security interests. Strengthening trade with India, it diversifies our supply chains here in the United States. It reduces dependence on Beijing. It builds resilience against authoritarian leverage. So it makes zero sense to me why we're punishing the Indian government, the Indian people, but also too here stateside. This punishes the American peoples. You are our friends. You're our partner. You're not a rival that we ought to punish. So it makes no sense, and I don't understand why the president has insisted on moving this way forward.
Right, Christopher. Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor, has said that the road to peace in Ukraine-Russia war passes through New Delhi here in India. But I want to ask you that if Trump really wanted to stop the war, he would have perhaps taken some concrete actions against the Russian president. That has not happened as of now. Your comments?
It's a sad tradition of President Trump to be soft on Russia since that Helsinki conference in 2018, June of 2018, when he downplayed Russian interference in our own elections here in the United States. He has strangely had an affection for Putin, and has not punished him accordingly when they deserve sanctions, when they deserve economic repercussions. But he has punished our friends, and India is another example of that. So I don't understand, and I don't think Democrats understand. I think also importantly, a lot of Republicans in his own party don't understand why this is the approach the president is taking. Here's my sense, though. I do think that the president oftentimes listens to the last person in the room, and my hope is that that better voices will prevail in his ears in the days and weeks to come. Because right now, this is a nonsensical component of this nonsensical tariff war.
My last question to Christopher. Why has the United States of America and Trump's administration spared China, and for that matter, Turkey, which is 15% on Turkey, but 50% on India at this point of time?
It makes no sense to me. And we do not know. I don't think the vast majority of the American people know. Look, China is watching for mistakes here in the United States. Every time we isolate ourselves, China gains, Beijing gains. Building closer ties with India strengthens the Quad, the U.S. India, Japan, Australian relationship. It stabilizes the Indo-Pacific region. And these tariffs risk alienating our allies and pushing India and others away from U.S. alignment. One final point. In the past year, we have seen in countries around the world an increase of the reputation of the Chinese government and a decrease of the reputation of the American government, and that cost us going forward. And so we need to change of track quickly, and I hope stronger minds and better ideas prevail.
Right, Christopher, thank you so much for joining us here on WION World this month.
Thank you for having me.